All right, so in this video, I want to discuss how, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Mason. We will likely be doing a video, or I will be hopefully a guest on their podcast, where we will discuss this together, and may even have additional people on it to discuss it as well. But I want to discuss how, like, a lot of times people end up being permanently underemployed. And underemployed is just a nice way of saying you are overqualified and you are not in your field and you are not being paid a suitable salary, wage for your expertise, for your education level, for the type of work that you do, for the type of skill sets that you have. And arguably, most people with education, whether it's a degree, a certification, and years of experience, are underemployed because we're grossly underpaid. I was on Twitter today, or X, and somebody was discussing how you have it where some jobs will have requirements that you have a master's degree, 5 to 10 years of experience, and yet the salary cap will be at $85,000. That's the cap, as in that's as high as they are willing to go for that particular position. And I retweeted the person's tweet, or repost the person's X post with my post, right? With my 2 cents to it. And I basically was explaining how, like, you're lucky to even get $50,000 a year in today's economy, arguably, because a lot of us have master's degrees, have certifications, and a lot of times in a specific field such as mine, you're required to continue education. You have to have continued education credits, so you're constantly having to take classes to get additional certifications, and sometimes your job will pay for those additional continued education credits or additional certifications, but sometimes you have to come out of pocket and pay for it yourself. Hopefully you can get it reimbursed, but that's not always the case. That is not always the case. So, and I'm saying this because a lot of people, are they open? Okay, I'm about to say, a lot of people end up in this situation where you're required to get these required education credits and have degrees and all of these certifications, but you're not being paid. You're not being paid adequately. So, and then I also remember how a few years back, I'm talking 3, 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? There was a discussion about how some people end up being permanently underpaid. And a lot of times, the starting salaries that you get when you're coming out of your schooling, when you're coming out of your college, you've already completed your degree, or you completed your apprenticeship, what have you, your certification program, what have you, whatever that starting pay is essentially setting you up for the type of trajectory that you will have with your salary, with your wages. And unfortunately, a lot of us, we started out at very low wages, low salaries. So when you look at the trajectory of, speaking from a personal standpoint, when I look at the trajectory of where I was when I graduated with my associates in 2012, 2 associate's degrees, associates in general studies, associates in liberal arts, and then when I graduated 2 years later in 2014 with a bachelor's of arts in sociology with a minor in substance abuse treatment, what I earn currently is what I should have been paid in 2014 when I came out with my bachelor's, is my whole point. Okay? And instead, here I am, 10 years, come May of this year, it'll be 10 years since I graduated with my bachelor's, and then it'll be 12 years since I graduated with my associates. And come April 30th of this year, it'll be 7 years since I graduated with my master's. So I now make $49,280 a year gross annual salary. This is before any taxes and deductions have been removed. Yet I have over 10 years of experience in my field. I have a master's degree. I have countless certifications. I am grossly underpaid. Again, so when you look at what job opportunities that were available to me in 2012 of my associates, again, I was putting in applications everywhere, okay? And it's absolutely ridiculous how underpaid I was. And then when I graduated with my bachelor's, I was working as a student custodian at the university that I went to, making $7.40 an hour with a bachelor's degree and 2 associate's degrees. And then I went to Myers for about 6 to 8 weeks working third shift doing stock. And at that time, minimum wage in Michigan went up from $7.40 to $8.15 an hour. And then because I was third shift, I got a premium of 50 cents. So it went from $8.15 to $8.65 an hour. And then I ended up getting another job working at a nonprofit, and it was basically the equivalent. I was getting $500 every 2 weeks, so $250 a week, $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year with a bachelor's degree. So when you're starting off at such low, stagnant wages, it sets the tone for the type of money that the trajectory for the type of money that you may get in your field moving forward. And see, that's the problem with a lot of these jobs, is that the trajectory was already extremely low. So I'm not really surprised that damn near 10 years since getting my bachelor's, damn near 7 years since getting my master's, I'm not even at $50,000 a year. I'm $720 shy of $50,000 a year with 10 plus years of experience, countless certifications, and a master's degree. Not to mention the type of work that I do. I'm essentially a case manager for a statewide program for 8 different counties. I have over 50, really closer to 100 clients that I work with across the state in 8 different counties, and I'm not even paid $50,000 a year. So again, when people are talking about underemployment, this is what we're talking about. You know, we're grossly underpaid. The type of work that we're doing is very extensive. It's a lot. It's a lot of data management, data entry, it's counseling, it's a lot of mental health, it's a lot of social work, it's a lot going on for us. Not to mention, we also teach classes on home ownership, on financial literacy, on investments, etc. And we're not paid enough to justify any of that. And then here we are in today's cost of living hell, where you could spend $100 at the grocery store and you might only have 3 bags coming out with you. And out of those 3 bags, you might not even have a piece of meat in that bag. So, yeah, it's ridiculous, to say the least. It's extremely frustrating, because when I say we're not paid shit, we're not paid enough to justify people working at the vast majority of these jobs. And again, this needs to be talked about more because a lot of people can relate to what I'm going through. I honestly feel like the government should be mandated to supplement people's income when people are being grossly underpaid. Because again, the person on Twitter was discussing how they were upset that the cap for that job posting was $85,000, and I would love to make $85,000. That would be life-changing for me on a personal level. And the sad part is that's what I should be making anyways with my years of experience and my education and my certifications and the type of work that I do. And I'm saying all this to say, when they wonder why you have so many, when they wonder why there's so many work and labor shortages, it's not only because of the pandemic and the fact that over 1 million people were killed in the pandemic just in the USA alone, over 1 million people. We still are losing over 1,000 people per week to COVID. So it's not just that, it's also the fact that why should anybody stay working in these fields if they're going to constantly be living check to check and underpaid? Why should anybody be pursuing degrees in fields of study that they're going to be in debt for the rest of their lives? And you have people who have less education, less years of experience, less workload, making double and triple what you're making. So can you really be surprised that there's not enough teachers, there's not enough social workers, there's not enough people in human and social services? What is the incentive for anybody to stay in these fields if we're going to be paid poverty wages? So I just wanted to say that because I don't think that there's enough conversation around that. And like I said, shout out to my friend Mason. They're kind of dealing with the same thing. Like, again, they've got over 20 years of experience. They've got their college education, their degrees, and they're literally doing director of operation, CFO type work, and they're not even making 6 figures. They're not even making 70, 80K. So this is why I wanted to highlight how in many cases, we're not even making that $85,000 that this person was upset that that was the cap. And I agree, it's ridiculous to require someone to have a master's degree and 10 years of experience and you're making the cap at 85K when that person should be making well over 6 figures. They have a decade of direct work experience plus a master's degree. And then here I am, a decade plus of work experience, a master's degree, countless certifications, doing case management for a statewide program with over 8 counties, and I'm not even making 50K. So I totally get where people are coming from when they're discussing the ridiculousness of this. So I just wanted to say that real quick because it's ridiculous. People should be getting paid a lot better than what we're getting paid. And even if you don't have a degree, even if you don't have years of experience, even if you don't have a certification, you deserve a living wage. You should be able to afford rent, groceries, a car payment, gas, utilities, have a savings, go on a vacation once or twice a year, buy things that you want sometimes. It shouldn't have to be, I gotta work 2 and 3 jobs to still barely make ends meet. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comment box below. I'm out.